fabrics in out of the country. I forget where.
We're ready to go.
Okay.
Camera rolling.
All right.
3, 2,
What
1,
is total time?
and action.
Well, Shelley, I've been looking forward to meeting you because we do have one thing in common, you and I.
Oh, I bet at least one. But what's the one?
The one thing is that I, too, am Hoosier born.
Oh, really?
Lafayette.
Fort Wayne here.
I know. I have lots of relatives in Fort Wayne. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
We don't want to waste our precious time.
No, but that's a nice connection.
I, one time in interviewing Shirley MacLaine, she said, every actress wants to play a hooker. But I've been told you really didn't.
No, I didn't. Maybe because every other actress does. I don't know. I have a bit of the rebel in me. Frankly, there were two reasons. I didn't ever feel that I had the kind of equipment to play a hooker and that I would be appropriate as a hooker. And then letting go of that, it was, does that feel right? Which is a question I ask about roles. I guess there are actresses who don't, and that works fine for them. They find some other way of making it work so that it feels right. But I wanted to make sure that this would feel right. I've used the analogy of that it's like putting on a piece of clothing. And if it's scratchy and uncomfortable, you're going to suffer from that, and it begins to take its toll. And your performance isn't as good, and your life isn't as good. If you're walking around in clothes that don't feel good, you know, it's like wearing shoes. Your feet become deformed after a while. It means that much to me, that I want to play roles that I learned from, that I can give something to, that I have some understanding of. So I guess I felt maybe I didn't have an understanding of it, but I let go of that, and it worked.
So what changed your mind?
Well, I decided to read the script a second time and forget that Belinda was a hooker and see her as a person. And then when I did that, I liked her as a person. And then when I liked her as a person, and I read for Ron and Brian, the producer, and with Henry, and I liked all of them, and I thought, there's got to be a way to make this work. And I also found myself having fun dressing up in a sort of outrageous, flamboyant way to come for the reading, and I liked that. So as I started to put on that garment of the role, it felt good, and I was surprised, but I had to admit it, that I could do it. And in doing the research, I talked with a hooker. I talked with Ron and Brian about the research they had done with call girls, and I realized that there was no need for me to judge that career, that basically what Belinda represents in the show is not a hooker, but a lady who's willing to make a connection with a man in that wonderful way that men and women make connections of spirit, not just of body, and that she does wonderful things for Chuck, and he for her, and that's really what the film is about. Unfortunately, she is in a profession that takes a heavy toll on her, but she's able to overcome that a lot. You see the toll taken a few times in the picture, and I think that's right, that you see the violent sides of this profession, because it's not pretty. A lot of it is not pretty at all. But she overcomes that. She remains positive, and that was the part that I loved about her and about the movie.
Shelley, you don't do any nude scenes in the movie, do you?
No.
Now, did you just refuse to do them?
No. Now this shows you the attitude of the picture. They felt that that would not be appropriate. I even asked the producer, I said, you know, there's a scene, a sort of frat party scene, where some of the other hookers are unclad. And I said, why aren't I in that scene? And I didn't really want to be in it, but I was curious. Once it had already been shot, there was no chance of him changing his mind. He said, well, we didn't want to exploit our leading lady, which I hope that doesn't mean that they felt they were exploiting the other actresses. But there was a sense of protection that they felt protective of the Belinda character, I think, and wanted to show her vulnerability in other ways. I still had to take off more clothes than I wanted to. I didn't particularly like walking around in my underwear. Belinda thought it was okay. It was no big deal for her, but for me, when the cameras weren't rolling, it was hard. But have I answered that?
Yes, yes. You're married.
Yeah.
And your husband is a stockbroker?
Yes.
Now, how...
Securities broker. He sells more securities than stocks.
Okay, so how's he reacting to this film and you running around in your skivvies?
He didn't have trouble with me running around in my skivvies. That's a part of my anatomy he likes. But we have talked about nude scenes, and he is not really prepared for nude scenes. I don't know that I'm prepared for them, but there is an element of acting where an actress has to be ready to open up. And I feel that on many more levels than I used to feel it. And there is an acceptance and a pride in my body that I didn't used to have. Whether I'm willing to show it in a nude scene or not is a difficult question. But feeling that my instrument as an actress is very much a part of my body, how I walk, my posture, all of that adds to what my character is. So I have to have a knowledge of that and a knowledge that it's being seen. We talk about it, you know, it's hard for him, but he accepts what's going on in night shift as being okay. So, and as long as we keep talking, and so that he understands how I feel and that I have an awareness of his feelings, we're going to be okay. Got to keep that communication going.
Well, I know you're going to be okay because you make a tremendous impact in the movie, Shelley.
Oh,
you really do.
Thank you, Bobbie.
Neat performance. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the movie.
Thank you.
Nice talking with you.
That's so nice to hear, especially from a woman. Really. Thank you.
Okay.
You're a neat lady.
Oh, thank you.
Cutaways, Bobbie?
Yes. Now, we have to be sure we're getting an entirely different background, nothing to give it away. And,
Well, we can go in outside. You want Dallas?
no. And about like this.
I like that.
Is that going to work okay?
Turn it right, hold it, and go.
Okay, questions. All right. Shelley, it's my understanding that you did not want to play this role. Why not? Shirley MacLaine says every actress wants to play a hooker. You didn't do any nude scenes, did you?
Actually, I did one, but it was off camera, and I understand there's an 8mm reel of that.
Okay, all right. Next question.
That's called deep bloat.
Why did you not do any nude scenes? Did you just refuse? Okay. You're married to a stockbroker. How does your husband react to your running around in this movie in your skivvies? Well, Shelley, I know you're going to be okay. Okay, that should do it. Thank you.